Hello and welcome to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the News. I'm Joe Youngblood, and with me is Lauren Oxlade from the Shadbush Burgess Nature Center. Lauren, thanks for being on the show
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Now, Lauren, I see that we have in front of us a salamander, and it's not real active. I see right now he's in a cookie pan with some water in there, but obviously will that keep him in there, or can he crawl out of there?
She could probably crawl out. They're typically kind of animals that hang out in low areas. These guys are found mostly underground.
Okay.
So she's not a big climber as opposed to, like a lizard that you might see that would want to be up in a higher space. She likes to be down low. So
And she seems very content in that bucket.
she's probably a little bit on the colder side just from transporting her from the building to the car and then from the car to here. It's very cold outside. And
So she likes the warmer weather?
She prefers to be a little bit warmer, but being an amphibian, she can handle colder temperatures, which is part of the reason why I chose to bring her today.
Okay.
It might not be safe for a reptile to bring it out in temperatures like this.
Now, in the wintertime in Michigan, if she wasn't at the Nature Center, where would you find this salamander?
You probably wouldn't find her anywhere because she would be in sort of a hibernation state, where with reptiles and amphibians it's called brumation.
Okay.
Where she pretty much goes into like a catatonic state, and she would be buried beneath the ground below the frost line where she can safely spend the winter.
So she would have a hole, a burrow dug into the ground?
She would probably, they are pretty good diggers, but she also might find an abandoned chipmunk hole, an abandoned groundhog hole, something like that, where she doesn't have to work as hard to get below the frost line.
And is it always staying clear near water?
The thing that's interesting about amphibians is that part of what makes an amphibian is that they have a very strong relationship with water. So all amphibians at some point in their life will spend a portion of their life in the water as a tadpole. So most salamanders start out in the water as an egg. They hatch out of that egg, and then they emerge as a tadpole, and then they grow into a salamander. So that's part of what makes her an amphibian, is her relationship with water. So she will prefer a moist environment, but she might not necessarily spend a significant amount of time in the water.
Okay. Now, it looks like if I saw that swimming in the water, I would mistake it for a baby alligator.
Yeah, a lot of people, kids especially, when we use her for programs, kids say, "Oh, it's a lizard, how cool." And we, educate them that while it does have a similar shape as a lizard, it's nothing like a lizard.
Yeah.
This is an amphibian. Lizards are reptiles, so their skin is different.
Yeah.
The way they're born is different. Lots of things about them. Amphibians are typically nocturnal, which means they come out at night. They prefer wetter, cooler environments, whereas reptiles prefer typically warmer, sunnier environments and are usually active during the day.
Good.
So
now,
she's very different from a reptile.
Yeah, as you can see, the skin is very soft there. Now, you mentioned this is salamanders from Michigan, and that would be very interesting to see this in Michigan because the size of it.
She is
and
our
you don't
biggest,
see that very often.
Yep, she is our biggest land salamander. Not her in particular, but this species.
Okay.
I don't know if I mentioned she's called an eastern tiger salamander.
Oh,
and their
okay.
colors do vary she's kind of she's been on the duller side, but they can be very bright yellow with black markings, and their markings themselves actually differ quite a bit.
Now, can they change like a chameleon to fit into the background, their skin color?
They can change tone slightly.
Okay.
They wouldn't necessarily change their color
Oh my
the way the way a reptile would. But she can change from slightly darker to slightly lighter tones, but nothing too noticeable.
Now, that movement there where it looked like he's trying to jump back to bite you, did that, was he startled?
She probably just was bothered by me touching her.
Okay.
She probably wants to go on her way and get out of that dish, because they do spend the majority of their life underground once they've reached the adult stage. So she's probably a little uncomfortable in this bright light. And when I touch her, I'm not doing anything to harm her. She just probably isn't too thrilled about it.
Okay. Well, now, will she bite you?
She could mistake my hand for food. The thing with a lot of amphibians is that they have to see their food move to eat it. If I put something dead in front of her, she would have no idea that it was food, no matter how good it smelled or looked. If it didn't move, she wouldn't recognize that it's food. So it is possible that if she were in probably a more comfortable environment, like what we keep her in at the nature center. She could mistake my hand for food. In an environment like this, I don't think she would, because she's probably not thinking about eating. She's probably thinking about getting someplace dark and quiet.
What does she eat?
Salamanders will eat pretty much anything that they can fit in their mouth. That's true with a lot of amphibians. They will.
So like a baby mouse or something?
Yep, I've fed them pinkies before, which are newly born baby mice.
Okay.
I have found tiger salamanders before with the tails of other salamanders hanging out of their mouth.
Really?
So frogs are like that as well. Big
Man.
frogs eat little frogs, and little frogs eat littler frogs. So they'll eat just about anything.
Does she have teeth?
I don't know if she has teeth.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I
Now,
would
if
imagine.
I put my finger like this, I mean, would it mistake it possibly for a little
Perhaps if she
pig,
were in
or
her
not
tank.
a pig, a little mouse, and
A little
possibly
pig.
bite it?
I don't think in this environment she would. If she were at the
That's
nature
scary.
center where she was a little more comfortable, she could.
Really?
But she wouldn't do any real damage.
Okay, now if I came to the nature center as a visitor, would I be able to hold the salamander?
That's a really good question. Probably not.
Okay.
This is not typically an animal that we would get out for the public, and it's not because we're concerned about the public safety. We're concerned about her safety. Being an amphibian, she can partially breathe and drink through her skin. When we teach with her for programs, we compare her a lot to a sponge, so that it's kind of on a level that young kids can understand.
Okay.
So anything that you could have on your hands, something that you might not even realize that you have on your hands. If mom is cleaning the counters at home and the kid sits down and puts their hands on the counters, then they come to the center and say, "Oh, I haven't touched anything. I can hold her." But they've totally forgotten that they have this cleaner on their hands now, and that can be fatal for her.
Okay. So you're able to hold this salamander?
I do sometimes.
You try not to, though.
We don't on a
Okay.
regular basis unless we need to. Obviously, I had to pick her up and handle her to bring her here today. But when we do handle them, we typically will scrub our hands for a minute or two with just water, no soap, so that they're as clean as possible without using any products.
And would the salamander rather not be held?
Yeah.
Okay.
She and that's another reason why we don't always get her out. I can't necessarily say that all of our animals always like to be held, but some do handle it better than others. And you could see just when I touched her, she was
Go back.
She was a little bit uncomfortable with it. So she's not typically an animal that we would handle on a regular basis for a lot of reasons.
Well, that is a very nice looking amphibian.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
The skin texture and the design is amazing.
And one of my favorite things about salamanders that a lot of people don't know is what an important species they are to humans, to the environment. Salamanders are a focus of a lot of scientists right now because they can actually regenerate their limbs, they can regenerate their tails, they can also regenerate full organs or organs that have been damaged.
Really?
So
Holy cow,
scientists
that
are
would
studying
be
them.
amazing research. Yeah.
Yep. Scientists have been studying them to find out if there's a way to isolate that enzyme that they use for humans that need liver transplants or heart transplants or have damaged fingers or limbs.
So if his back leg was lopped off, he would slowly regenerate it.
Yep. And it would come back as a normal. It might be slightly deformed, but it would come back as a functional limb.
That's amazing. That's some trivia there that I never knew.
Yeah, they're very interesting. And they're also considered an indicator species, which means because they have very sensitive skin, if a salamander is found in an environment, it's fairly safe to assume that that's a healthy environment because they are so sensitive to pollution and toxins and chemicals. So if you find salamanders in your backyard or on property that you own, that's a pretty good sign that it's a healthy environment.
Now, in our park system, Holland Ponds is an example. With your research you've done over there, have you guys come across any salamanders?
We have found salamanders.
Okay, that's a great sign.
It's a very good sign. So every time we find them, we'll usually take a look at them. We try not to handle them, but it's very exciting to find salamanders in our parks. We found leadback salamanders, which is a color variation of redback salamanders, which is a color variation of a leadback salamander. It's a leadback
Say that
with
3 times
right.
fast.
I know. It's a leadback salamander with a red stripe down its back, and they're very, very tiny. Full grown, they're only about 2 or 3 inches long, so they're not easy to find. And we've also found blue spotted salamanders, which is just another species of Michigan salamander.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Lauren, we also have some exciting things coming up at the Nature Center. We have some events, and we also have a slight change in the date. So,
yes, we do.
The first item that we have in the newsletter, we have a date that you want to update our residents for.
Yes, we had a slight confusion with the date where something was posted in the newsletter. For various reasons, we had to change that date. So the winter hike and cookout that was supposed to be on the 22nd is now going to be hosted on the 1st. So
okay, so January 22nd to February 1st.
I'm sorry, February 22nd has been moved to the 1st. So
of March.
Yep. So by the time this airs, it will have passed. So the actual date is not on the 22nd.
Okay, it's on the 1st.
Yep.
Very good. Now, also we have some other camps coming up. Science Olympiad. Can you give us a couple updates on those?
Sure. Science Olympiad is going to be hosted on the 1st and the 8th of March. So it'll be the 1st and 2nd Saturday
at the
of
Nature
March.
Center?
Yep. And that's $3 per participating child, so students and siblings. And Science Olympiad is designed to kind of prepare kids for the actual Science Olympiad. The one on the 1st.
The one you hear in the school system? Okay.
So
watch the salamanders kind of get away there.
Kids are encouraged to bring their notes and their books that will correspond to that Science Olympiad.
Okay.
And Don't Bug Me is the focus on the 1st, and Wildlife Safari is the focus on the 8th.
I'm assuming Don't Bug Me is a bug theme event?
Yep. So mostly different types of invertebrates, spiders, and invertebrates being animals that don't have a backbone. So spiders, dragonflies, lots of different things. And there will be some live specimens, some mounted specimens, some pictures, so all different variations for kids to learn from.
Very good. And if you have any questions about any activities at the Burgess Shadbush Nature Center, please call them at 586-323-2478, and they'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions and to register for any of the programs coming up. Well, Lauren, we appreciate you having the tiger salamander on here today.
Thank you.
Seem very content. Maybe the warm lights are helping warm her up a little bit.
That's probably why she's a little more active, because it's a little warmer in here than what she's used to.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for bringing her out here. Sure. And we'll let you guys get back to the Nature Center. Nice, warm aquarium. Will this stay in the aquarium with some water in it?
Yep.
Yeah, the heated lamp? Okay, Tiger Salamander, thanks for coming on our show. You have anything to say? Kind of quiet.
She's ready to go back.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Lauren. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Shelby Parks and Rec in the news after these messages.
The picnic shelters at Riverbends Park are available for rent starting January 9th, 2012. Reservations for the Bittersweet, Hickory Grove, and Maple View shelter will be accepted for groups for the months of May through September. For available dates, please contact Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300. Amenities include a number of picnic tables, 8 grills scattered throughout the main park area, playscape and disc golf course, horseshoe pits and volleyball nets. For more information and residential and non-residential fees, please call the Shelby Township Parks and Recreation Department at 586-731-0300.
Hello and welcome back to Shelby Township Parks and Recreation in the news. I'm Joe Youngblood. With me is Mike Adams from the Parks and Recreation Department. Mike, we had quite a few special events coming up. We had one special event just recently, the Princess Fantasy Fun Night held at the Shelby Township Community Center. Wonderful event. We had a nice turnout. And who are the sponsors for that event?
Sponsors, every year we've had the event, has been Tea Party Castle, and they provide the princess for us.
Right here in Shelby Township.
Right across the street. Yeah. So they're a great sponsor. They've been doing it the whole time we've been running the event for 4 years now. And Christian Financial Credit Union, they've been a great sponsor the last couple of years for a lot of the township events, not just this one. They've really stepped up and helped us out with a lot of events, so we'd like to thank both of them.
Well, and also thanks to you and Shelley in our office for doing a wonderful job that evening. The young girls had a beautiful time, all dressed up, had some nice crafts for them, nice little dinner, come with their mom or dad. Let's take a look here at some of the footage we have from Shelby Cable. as you can see from the footage, what a wonderful night everyone had. Mike, we also had some special volunteers that night.
Yeah, from Eisenhower, the Key Club and Honor Society, they're great, not sponsors, but volunteers for us. Over the past few years, they've been volunteering at a lot of our events, and we just wouldn't be able to run the events
Definitely.
without their manpower they provided. I think we had 10 or 12 volunteers for the event, so.
They seem more active now in the last few years than they've ever been
Yeah,
as far as helping out with our events.
We've had a lot of repeat volunteers too,
Yeah.
so they must be having a good time at the events. One young man has volunteered at 5 straight events for us. So
He does a great job. I remember, and I don't remember his name.
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Jonathan. He is a great personality, very active, and kind of takes charge at these events.
Yeah, you
don't see that very often in
no,
high school. That's
especially
good.
not at a Princess Fantasy Fun
Yeah.
Night from a 17-year-old young man, and he
That's
had
great.
a great time.
Wonderful. Mike, also sticking with some of our events coming up, we have the Daddy-Daughter Dance coming up here in Cherry Creek on February 13th. And this event, as we see with some of the footage that we have rolling here, the girls have a wonderful time, great night out with their dad. This comes around once a year. And you couldn't have it at a better facility. I mean, Cherry Creek is just a beautiful place to have it. What will the dad and daughter expect that night besides dancing?
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. We have a great DJ, as always. Of course, you've had dinner over there many times. Great dinner. It was just a really nice time. Great setting.
Speaking of dinner, those smiley fries the kids get, you always make sure
And chicken tenders.
the daughters get a few extra. Yeah.
And the chicken, yeah, you too. Yeah, the food's great at Cherry Creek, as always. Obviously, the course is not going to be real green, but it's still beautiful that time of year, as always there. And just a great venue for something like this. This would be my first year going with my daughter.
You'll have a great time.
She never wanted to go before, but she definitely does now, talking to some of her friends and neighbors, so they're going, and we're excited and ready to have a good time.
Well, good. And thanks to Trish in our office for heading this event up. And thanks to Cherry Creek. They help out with a good price for us to help keep it affordable. And once again, it's still first-class facility and a wonderful event. That's the Daddy-Daughter Dance. Give us a call at 731-0300. And Mike, not to leave anyone out, we have the Mommy-Son Dance coming up, and we have some footage that we're going to take a look at right now. In the Mommy-Son Dance, what's the date for this, and how can the mom and son register?
Yeah, we've changed the date a little bit. It used to be in May. We bumped it up to March. It's March 26th this year, again, at things like that. So, but we have tickets available right now, and they can call the office, 731-0300.
Very good. And also we want to let residents know we have a couple events coming up in spring, and boy, we're all excited for spring, Mike. This winter we've seen enough. So let's move on to that spring weather. So that's Easter Bunny Lunch, Saturday, April 12th at 11 o'clock a.m. at the Community Center. And that's followed by the Easter Egg Scramble, which will be held at Riverbends Park. That's a huge event, great time. A couple of sponsors. We'd like to thank the Macomb Shelby Kiwanis Daybreakers, and also Genesis Credit Union for sponsoring the Easter Egg Scramble. They have done a wonderful job for us with their sponsorship in the past, and moving forward, we have a great relationship with them. Mike, switching gears a little bit, we have Little League Baseball registration. If you could just say a few words on that, because we know we've getting a lot of calls in, a lot of registrations for that. Once again, with the cold weather, some people are not thinking baseball right now, but it's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, it will. We started a couple weeks ago with online registration. We just started new player and phone-in registration for returning players. People must be thinking about it. We already have over 400 kids registered for baseball, and we will be doing so for the next couple weeks. Some divisions are already filling up, if you can believe it. So I suggest if anyone's interested, take a look at the ad in the newsletter, give us a call. All the information's in there, but if anyone has any questions, they can call us. But I think boys minor kid pitch, one of the divisions filled up yesterday, the day before.
Really?
So even though it's 0 degrees, people are thinking about it. The Tigers are going to be in spring training before we know it.
We haven't hit February yet, though. We already filled up.
We haven't hit February or 25 degrees yet. But yeah, so we have about the same openings in all the divisions as last year. So I suggest people, I know it's hard to think about, and calendars are full, especially for that time of year, and people are waiting for other things, but if they want their choice of divisions, they should call soon.
Good, very good. And also, don't forget, we have the downhill sledding at Gene Shepherd Park and River Bends Park. And we also have the ice skating rink at Mace-Decker Park. And also at Mace-Decker Park, Monday through Friday, the lights are turned on for night ice skating. Saturday and Sunday, it is open during the day, but once it gets dark, the lights are not on. So some activities for those people that love to be outside in the wintertime. Mike, thanks very much for being on the show today, and for all of our Shelby residents, thank you very much for watching. And please remember, here at Shelby Parks and Rec, we create community through people, parks, and programs. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions at all, please give us a call, 731-0300. Have a great day.